Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the UGASports.com Postgame Overreaction Show UAB edition. I'm your host, Paul Maharry. Joining me soon will be Trent Smallwood. Big things to talk about. Obviously, Georgia did not have JT Daniels. Stetson Bennett goes out and has a career day instead. Carson Beck showed up a little bit. We even got to see a little bit of Brock Vandegrift there at the end. But overall, great day for the Dogs. Defense was unbelievable. We've got Trent Smallwood joining us now, I think. Trent, are you there? Oh, he just left. All right. Fair enough. Well, we'll start the call again. Either way, guys, big win for the Dogs, 56-7. If you could share this with your friends, we want you guys to call in. We want to hear your reaction, not just ours. We had Coach Donnan, Dane Young, and Brent Rollins on for the watch-along show, and now we are here live to talk to you guys, the fans. We want to hear about your thoughts from this last 56-7 win against UAB. I'm trying to start the Skype call back up. Looks like Trent messed up our Skype call. But guys, the line is open, 706-363-3773. Overall, just a bang-up job by the offense. Like I said, 56-7. Trent, are you there with us? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Well, you're live on YouTube, man. And I was just breaking it down for folks. Like I said, game 56-7. Stetson Bennett comes out and has a monster day. What were just your overall thoughts from the game?
No, I thought Stetson had I guess he proved a lot of people wrong, or proved why he was starting today. He came out and had a nice day. I thought the play designs were nice. The fake halfback calls, and how about Brock Bauer's speed? I mean, goodness gracious, that's a big dude running that fast down the sideline. So I thought Brock had a good day. I just thought the offense had a good day overall. I'd like to see a little more out of the running game, but I thought the passing game was very well with Stetson playing QB.
They then went to Carson Beck a little bit. What were your thoughts on Beck getting in there? That was the whole controversy leading up to this, right? Everybody wanted to see Beck. Whatever reason, Kirby decided not to do that, even though earlier in the week he had announced that Beck would be his number 2 guy, and he was the number 2 guy. Instead, Stetson comes out, throws a 73-yard pass to Jermaine Burton before he could even watch it on TV, Trent. Because they screw up the programming on ESPN. So what were your thoughts on that? How did that kind of the change go, so to speak?
Well, I mean, obviously it looks like Kirby made the right decision. Just looking at it from a stat standpoint. But I thought Beck had some nice throws. I thought there was he kind of threw it down and Jalen Johnson dropped one, and I thought he had some nice throws. I didn't get a chance to see the pick six. I don't really know what happened on that one because I'd already left the stadium. But I thought he made some nice throws. I thought he made some errant throws. I thought he played like he hasn't stepped on the field in a couple of years, and he hadn't had those live reps. But I do see potential with that guy. He's got a live arm.
What was your overall thoughts on the defense? I know everybody kind of hyped up UAB in a sense. What was your overall thoughts on the defense just being dominant again as usual?
I mean, I just think they're so deep and so talented up front. I was looking around, I was watching them, and, I mean, they have different linebackers rotating in, whether it's Channing Tindall or Kobe Dean or Dumas Johnson or, I can't even think of the Quay Walker.
Yep.
They're just, I mean, they had guys flying around everywhere. They're just, I think it's the fast defense, defensive line. They were rotating guys everywhere in. I thought Logue made some big plays. I thought, Nazir Stackhouse was in the backfield, 2 or 3 plays there in the first half. I just thought the front seven is so good. And then I love watching Keely Ringo's interception. He had his head turned the whole time, just looked very well coached and made a play on the ball.
Overall, UAB 174 total yards, 47 passing yards for UAB, whereas they rushed for 127. Georgia, on the other hand, 539 total yards, 376 of those coming through the air. And then they did get the rushing game going a little bit, had 163 yards. Didn't feel like it, though, as the game kind of, was going through the motions and was in real time. But as it ends, Georgia ended up with Zamir White getting 7 carries for 34 yards. Dejon Edwards also got in there, 7 attempts for 29 yards, kind of in some mop-up duty. Kendall Milton got 8 carries for 26 yards. And then Kenny McIntosh, 4 for 20. James Cook did have the touchdown. He had 5 rushes for 18 yards. Overall, though, 4.3 yards a carry, Trent. I didn't see much out of the running game. You concerned about that at all?
Yeah, I'm concerned with the interior of the line blocking. I thought they struggled blocking on the interior line. I'd like to see a little bit more. I guess you should be able to blow them off the ball, but at the same time, I'd like to see them get wide every once in a while, because I thought when they got wide that they were more successful running the ball. But I'd also, I'd like to see them throw that hurry up run in the garbage can, because when they run up on third down, it just seems like they're going to get tackled for a loss every time, and that's what pretty much what they do. So that when they play that hurry up on 3rd and 2 and they hand it off in the backfield, I feel like everybody in the stadium knows they're handing it off, and yeah, it's not been successful. So.
I had in my notes here, right in the second quarter, I said, "Why is James Cook running through the middle?" ? Exclamation point. Obviously, he had that touchdown. He had the rushing touchdown where they ran him through the middle. That was the one thing that was a little bit different to me. And guys, if you're in the chat, we'd love to hear from you as well. So put your comments in the chat. If you're not wanting to call in, we'll talk to you through the chat. We want to get as much of your input as possible, guys. Again, phone number 706-363-3773. Phone line is open. Trent's got a special link to where he can get on the back end and listen to us and talk to us while he is headed home from the game. Trent, what was the overall, I guess, impressions of being inside Sanford Stadium for the first time in what feels like years? It actually is years. What was the overall atmosphere like? I know it was UAB, but what was the atmosphere like?
Well, it was. It was loud in the stadium, especially at the beginning. The students were really into it. I thought it was a good atmosphere. Towards the, midway through the third quarter, it started to clear out a little bit. I guess when you're up 42, that's what happens. But overall, I thought it was the tailgating out. Outside was live, and then it just in the stadium. The minute you walked in, it was a good atmosphere for a UAB game. I can anticipate next Saturday night being pretty live.
We've got a caller, Trent. Hey, you're on live with Paul and Trent over here on the Postgame Overreaction show. Who do we have the pleasure of speaking with?
This is Brandon from Piedmont, South Carolina. It's been a great week in South Carolina, upstate.
Piedmont, South Carolina. Okay. Brandon, we appreciate it. Is it Brandon? I don't want to misspell it on the show.
That's right, yes. Brandon.
Well, what's your thoughts, Brandon? Talk to us, my man.
Well, listen, first of all, y'all, UGA Sports by far is the best as far as content. I really appreciate all the time and effort y'all put into this channel. But how about the mailman delivering again? What supposedly weren't sure who was starting, even though UGA Sports had it earlier.
We did.
And
we did.
And then the performance he put on, and you had to feel like they were going to score points this week after hearing all the negative, which I don't know how you can be negative going to a second home of the number 3 team in the nation, about 25 minutes down the road from where I live, and getting a win.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Just a great overall performance. Again, defense again tonight. And then getting to see Dejon Edwards doing his thing at the end of the game. That was great to see. Between the tackles, he was a beast. He did great.
No, yeah, he did.
So just a great overall, just another a great, good tune-up. And my thing is, let JT get 100%. Whatever 100% is, let him get 100%. It's obvious we can win. We'll win next week with the players we have currently. But one other thing, can you imagine what it's going to be like in just a few weeks when these other players come back?
Oh man, unreal.
This offense is going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Who are you going to stop?
Yeah.
Brock Bowers lit it up today. Brock Bowers. This kid hasn't played in 2 years. What in the world?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, all the comments so far on the YouTube channel, we got a few of them. Brock's got speed, talking about Brock. I missed Mike Acor's call. Call back, Mike. I'm sorry. But no, yeah, everybody's talking about Brock Bowers. We talked about him a ton leading up to this year and how I wasn't really on the Brock Bowers train. Unfortunately, I have now decided to join that Brock Bowers. Not unfortunately. Fortunately for Brock Bowers, I've decided to join that train because the dude is an absolute monster. The coaching staff raves about him, and it shows. I mean, you don't have Brock Bowers. It's a different story for Georgia, especially last week. He comes up again big this week. I'm trying to look up his stats here for us, Brandon. 3 catches, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the one big one, 89 yards. I mean, he took off, and yes, it was against UAB, but let's remind everybody, Brandon, while we're on the phone together real quick, everybody was hyping UAB up before this game. Everybody was saying how this is going to be one of the best defenses Georgia faces all year long. This was going to be tougher than any SEC team minus Florida and Kentucky. And they went out there with the mailman and put on an absolute clinic.
Speaking of Brock, how about a rocket ship after he catches that long touchdown pass, runs by their DBs?
Yeah.
And they had some speed. I mean, UAB had some speed.
And he had the angle.
And then,
he had the angle on him, too.
Yes, he did. And Bowers goes down. I mean, he has been the man the last 2 weeks. And I just can't wait to see with him and Washington and Blaylock, seeing all those guys get back. Karras, getting 100% and being able to play on the wing. Who you going to stop? Who are you going to stop? You're not going to be able to.
So, are you under?
I hope all of y'all. Go ahead.
I want to ask you another question. So, you're under the impression that if JT is not 100% next week, you're okay with seeing Stetson out there again against South Carolina?
Yes, because we can win with the mailman.
Yeah.
We need JT for the meat of the schedule. We need JT for October against which I believe is a better Auburn team, at least for all appearances, against lower talent.
Right.
But you're going to need him for Auburn against Florida. We need to do what we did to UAB tonight to Florida in October, and we need JT Daniels to do that, and he can, and he will.
Yeah, I agree. Brandon, man, appreciate you calling in.
Man, listen, really appreciate the time, and I look forward to the next episode.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Trent.
I'm with you.
He's not wrong. He's 100% right. Everything that he said is 100% right. Hey, Mike, call back, Mike. I promise. I'll get you this one. We were just talking to Brandon there. I promise I will answer when I see the 912 area code come through. We've got a couple comments coming in. We've got folks coming in. If you haven't watched us before, this is a Postgame Overreaction show. Normally, Trent's ugly face is next to mine. He was lucky enough to take his son to the game, though, with some free tickets. So his son is – how old's your son, Trent?
10.
He's 10. He's 10. Loves him some football. So Trent's on his way back. When he gets back to the home office, we'll get his ugly face on Zoom next to me. We're going to be here for a while, guys. Don't worry. We'll get him on. We got a phone call coming in. Hey, you're on the line with Paul and Trent on the POS show, the Postgame Overreaction show. Who we got the pleasure of speaking with?
Hey, this is Hayden from Kennesaw.
Hayden from Kennesaw. Okay. First-time caller, long-time listener. Is that what I hear?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. One of those. I like it. What's up, Hayden?
I've been having this debate with my buddies all day.
Okay, let's hear it.
In my mind, last year, and don't get me wrong, I love Stetson Bennett and everything he's done for the program, and obviously he was amazing today.
Sure.
But in my mind, last year, he showed that he wasn't, just physically gifted enough to be able to push the ball against better, like your Floridas and your Alabamas and stuff like that. So in my mind, this is a great game to get, more of a physically talented quarterback like Beck or Brock Vandegrift more reps. So hopefully I don't want to, jinx anything. Hopefully if we get into that situation where it's how Alabama was against us a few years ago, we get to that situation where you got to pull Jalen Hurts and put in the freshman.
Yeah.
If we get to that situation, I would like the more talented backup to have his feet a bit more wet in real game experience. But
here's the thing.
I don't know if I'm crazy.
Here's the thing with that, Hayden. After watching today, you still think Beck is the more talented quarterback? I'm asking the question. I'm not trying to put my opinion on it. Just asking the question.
I don't. After today, I'm not sold that he's the better football player, but in terms of like physical abilities, I think that he can probably still do more than Stetson can. Obviously, Stetson's much more familiar with the offense, better decision making, stuff like that. But as far as like arm talent, I'm not completely out on Carson Beck. It's more so of a Brock Vandegrift thing when it comes to talent, because I know surely a 5-star has more physical talent than Stetson Bennett. And again, love Stetson Bennett. I feel like I've been talking crap about him all day, but awesome.
I think a lot of people talked a lot of crap about Stetson Bennett, and then he went out there and just shut them up, for lack of a better term. I don't know if anybody saw Stetson Bennett going out there and doing what he did, though, Hayden. I think that's the thing that's got everybody so confused now, right? Well, it's one of those things where it's like, everybody yesterday was so upset when we broke the news that, Roddy put it in his 3-2-1 report that he said, look, I think Stetson's starting this football game, and everybody freaked out because Carson Beck had just been named the number 2 a couple days prior in Kirby's press conference, and then you have this news come out that Stetson's starting again. Everybody has these vivid nightmares, it feels like, of Stetson Bennett, but overall, I mean, he played pretty good in the games that he played in. Obviously, he was up against Alabama at halftime. Things went sideways a little bit, but overall, and I asked, our last caller, Brandon, this, Hayden, if JT's not 100% next week, who are you throwing out there?
Yeah, it's definitely right now Stetson Bennett without a question. Just
okay.
From, like, I guess my point is, like, you know exactly what you're getting out with Stetson. Like, he's a great player. He's going to be a great Georgia quarterback against the, like, quote unquote lesser teams. But at this point where Georgia's at, like, if you can't beat Alabama, then what's the point,
Man, everybody's jumping to Alabama so quick, Hayden. I mean, you're not worried about the rest of the schedule? I'm just asking again.
I mean, I'm
not trying to put it on you.
Too far ahead. I think it's just what you're saying. I've got the nightmares of the we were so close to Alabama, and that's all I've got on the head, and I can't shake it.
Right. I mean, I understand it. It was a nightmare game for sure. What'd you cook out, or what you eat today, Hayden? Before we let you go, what was on the menu, man?
I had Subway for lunch. I'm actually on the way back to my house now with 2 stuffed crust pizzas. So that's
come
next.
on, yes, sir, indeed. All right, Hayden. Well, we appreciate you calling in, man, and hopefully we'll hear from you next week after a win against South Carolina. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go Dogs.
All right, man. Take it easy. Mike Acor, I promise I will get to you, man. You called in right after Hayden called in there. I'm putting your name in here, so we've got it ready. We got it loaded up, Mike. Go ahead and call. I promise we'll get to you right here. It's just Hayden jumped in front of you. Make some good points, though. Again, 56-7. We haven't even talked about the defense yet. We haven't talked about any of the other games in the SEC. I don't even know. I think Notre Dame won the game against Toledo. I was so focused on trying to get my notes. As you can see, man. They did? Okay, thanks, Trent.
32-29.
I got my notes here, man. I was just noted out today watching the game. I want to run through all my notes. We'll get to that at some point.
He was talking about the quarterback thing.
Yeah.
I don't think you're not beating Alabama this year without JT Daniels. They don't care what quarterback.
No, it doesn't matter if Brock's out there or not.
JT
Carson
Daniels
Beck
is the only one that I think JT Daniels is the only one that has a chance to beat Alabama, just because number one, he's got the arm talent to push the ball downfield, and number two, he's experienced in that match. So he's kind of got the experience level of the Stetson Bennett, but he's also got the arm talent a little bit that, I guess, surpasses. But I'm telling you, I mean, I look around, a couple of those guys you said today were wide open.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. I mean, anybody. I think you could have made that throw on someone.
Hot Pod could have thrown that touchdown pass.
Yeah.
But what I look at is that pass to Arian Smith. That ball is right on the money, right over the back shoulder. I mean, he's kind of leading towards the south sideline. That ball was right there. I mean, just the balls he threw were right on the money, and I thought, it doesn't surprise me. I think a lot of people are like, even maybe the coaching staff looks at him like looks at Stetson Bennett like, we don't want him to be the number 2. We need one of these these kids that look like a quarterback to be number 2.
Yeah.
But it always ends up where if Georgia gets in a bind, if Georgia loses JT, you're coming with Stetson Bennett. Kirby's going to go with somebody he trusts, and that's who's got his trust.
And for all intents and purposes, he went out there, threw 11 passes, completed 9 of them, finished with a QB rating of 444.9, 279 yards and 5 touchdowns. Let's talk a little bit about the defense, Trent. What they brought. Well, actually, before we get to the defense, we've got some comments over here talking about Hot Pod. And is there a kicker controversy now? I don't think so. If you're watching the watch along show with Coach Don and those guys, right at the end, Brent actually posed the question, or I think it was Brent posed a question to Coach Don and said, "Look, is this what we're going to be talking about after this year? Is there a kicking competition now?" Folks are asking them, can Camarda kick field goals? I think Hot Pod's fine. I think that just one of those things. Maybe the scholarship got to his head a little bit. Maybe the kicking the game-winning field goal against Cincinnati got to his head a little bit. I think Hot Pod's fine. Trent, your take?
I mean, yeah, I think he's fine, but you can't let you can't let this issue he's having with it. He got the shank. You can't let it get in his head. You got to get back on the practice field. You got to get him a field goal. He's just he's just got to get some confidence, because you don't ever want to get into a kicker's head, and you don't need this to get in his head, because it will be a long year if it does.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't say worried yet, but he just got to get the issue straightened out before it gets into a big game where it's he's got 3 on the line and he needs it, and Georgia can't count on him to kick it. I think he just got to get some confidence there. Now, if Camarda could kick a field goal like he kicks off, good gosh, he could kick a 70-yarder.
Yeah, you're not lying.
I mean, he kicks that ball so high in the air, and
I don't know, when was it?
And Camarda kicked field goals in high school.
No, I'm saying I know that. Yeah, I remember going and watching him over at Norcross. I was going to ask the chat though, when was the last time Georgia or any big program had a kicker and a punter do the same duties? Like, when was the last time Georgia had that? Has that happened before? I can't remember. We got a phone call coming in while we maybe get that answered in the chat. What's going on? You're on the air with Paul and Trent on the Postgame Overreaction show, UAB edition. Whose name should I put on the line?
It's Gerald.
Gerald. Man, I should just program your number, Gerald. I really should. What's up, man?
Hey, I think Stetson's been done a good job.
Yeah?
Well, real good job as far as that goes. But I believe we can win this game with Beck playing it too.
You think? I mean,
Score might not have been the same, but I believe we could win it.
Yeah, I think so. Trent, you think they probably could have won that game with Beck at quarterback? They wouldn't.
I think they could have won this game with
Brock Vandergrift playing.
I mean, they could have won this game with Muschamp playing.
Yeah.
But the issue is, Vandergrift didn't get in at the end, did he?
No, Vandergrift did get in at the end. He was handing off the ball. I think I don't think he had a pass. I was trying to get the show set up. Gerald, did Brock didn't have a pass, right? He just handed off.
I didn't see one. Wait a minute, he did too to Lad McConkey.
Old Lad McConkey. Gerald, have you bought your Lad McConkey jersey yet?
That's the only pass he had, I think. We were by a few yards.
Lad had 1 catch for 32 yards. It was not from. That was from Beck.
Yeah.
It looked like number 12 was one voted.
No, I don't see him with anything in the official Georgia stat book. Like I said, I was getting the show ready in the last minute or two whenever Brock did get in the game. I know he got in the game because I was watching the post game. Barry Anderson said no passes for Brock. Yeah, no passes for Brock.
Well, see, down on the sideline, Muschamp was warming up in the fourth quarter.
Was he really?
Yes, I thought they were bringing Muschamp. They might have been saving Brock's games towards the end of the season. But
Nah, Brock did get in. He had a couple handoffs from what I remember. Gerald, what's up? What's your last final thought here on the overall game of the Dogs? What are you concerned about moving forward? Are there any concerns of Gerald from Lafayette?
Yeah, the field goal kicker, the last I can't say his name.
Podlesny?
Yeah. I'm the other guy they got.
Oh,
Zirkle. Last name.
Zirkle. Yeah, I mean,
Zirkle.
It could be one of those things that I'm sure Kirby's getting asked about in the press conference right now as we are live here. Kirby is getting asked live now about the field goal kicking, and I'm sure he's going to say, hey, every position is open competition week in and week out. I don't know if Hot Pod's going to lose his job, though.
I believe I would hire a butler to train my kickers.
Get somebody in there like Kevin Butler again to get.
Well, he helped I ride a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, but you can't really get a graduate assistant, former Super Bowl champions. Everyone, you only get those once every blue moon to come and be able to help your program.
Full time.
He's got other obligations, and I don't think he wants to really coach, to be honest.
You throw a little money his way, take it.
throw a little money his way. He might talk different, huh, Gerald?
Well, yeah, just do that part.
Right. I feel you.
Money talks. Y'all already know that by now.
Oh, yeah. Money talks. BS
y'all
walks.
Y'all grown man. Y'all already know that.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, y'all have a good night, okay?
All right, Gerald. Take it easy, my friend.
All right. Go Dogs.
All right, brother. We got, let's see here. Grey Goose over in the chat said, get Ladd the ball. Dude has wheels, Trent. And then he also says, Beck has to be gone after this, especially with Gunner coming in next. I was going to touch on that with you, Trent, a little later on the show. But what do you do?
Yeah,
what do you do?
I think that was a real shot at the arm. The Beck today, especially, openly naming him the number 2 guy on Monday or Tuesday, whenever he did that, and then getting to Thursday and Friday and pushing back to Stetson. I really thought that was and I don't know how it's handled, in the locker room, how it's handled in the quarterback room. I don't guess anybody knows, but coming, from his trainer and everything that Bates will have a chance to start this weekend. All this stuff coming out, and then he's not the starter. It's just going to be it's tough on him, and I know that. And I'm not saying he's transferring. I don't know where he's, but with 2 talented quarterbacks behind you, it'll definitely be on the mind, especially after the season.
There were some reports that potentially coaching staff was upset that Beck had released that he was going to be the starter. I don't know if that's necessarily the case or not. I don't know if that's why you would just not start Beck because of that, that he told his trainer, hey, I'm going to start. Dude might have.
There was obvious plans to use him. It was every third series that he came in.
Yeah.
So there was obvious plan to use 2 quarterbacks today. But, I wasn't fond of how they approached that first series for Beck. Stetson scored both of his series, let him slinging the ball around a little bit. Then Beck comes in, hands off 3 times, goes to the sidelines, and then here comes Stetson again.
Right.
If you go on and give him that third series, let him come in and throw the ball. That wasn't a good look, but Stetson did perform at a high level, and I'm happy for the 5'10" mailman.
Hey, he went out there, got it done. The spread dropped. I think it's opened the week at 26, I want to say. Spread dropped to 22.5. Georgia covered that with ease. They had that covered within the first quarter, it felt like. Just an overall really stout game. And again, we're going to continue to talk about the offense because JT Daniels wasn't there. He was in pads. It wasn't like he was standing over there, without any pads on or anything like that. Seemed to be very engaged.
He actually was throwing before the game too. He was warming the quarterback up, so he was actually throwing the football before the game.
The also, oh man, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Somebody hit me up on GroupMe, and I lost my train of thought. Dang, that was gonna be a good take there. Anyways, let's get back to the chat over here. Barry Anderson with us. Hey Barry, what's going on, man? He says going to be Brock or Gunner in 2022. In this world of the transfer portal and everything that it shows, if you're Carson Beck, and it's unfortunate, right? Everybody's going to face adversity in life, and this is not like a life coach session. Everybody's going to face adversity in their life. But when you have the opportunity, like Carson Beck, to potentially transfer out and go start somewhere else, this was the game to where you're the clear number 2, and then all of a sudden, rug's out from underneath you. You're not the number 2 anymore. You're not starting. Yeah, you got a couple series in there. You threw a pick 6 that gave up the only touchdown of the game. You didn't really run and try to go stop him at all. RG3 was giving him a little bit of, crap on the broadcast about that, where he wasn't trying to really run and at least try to make an effort to get the guy down that intercepted it. But, I would be very surprised. Gunner's coming in. You have Brock. You get Stetson back for a 19th year. He comes back. No, I'm just kidding. I think his eligibility is done after this season, but I don't know. I think Carson Beck, if I was a betting man, I would say that he's probably, this wasn't a good sign in terms of his overall future for the Dogs, just because you got passed over by Stetson when, everything showed that you were going to be the guy, and you weren't. So it's one of those things.
Look, JT Daniels is only a redshirt junior, so he's got to have a. I mean, yes, everybody's looking at him to go pro, but
right.
He's also got to put up numbers to go pro, and so yes, we can look at it. That's Gunner, but I'm not Stetson or Gunner, Brock or Gunner, but I mean that would be one reason. I think that would be a waste. Is Stetson gone, JT gone, those two are gone, then Beck's on that even playing field with Gunner and Brock.
Yeah.
And that's crapshoot. So.
Guys, just to let you know, phone line is open, 706-363-3773 if you want to talk Dogs with us. Give your opinion. That's what this show's for. It's the Postgame Overreaction show. It's the POS. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk about what you ate on your tailgate. If you had a tailgate, let us know what you had. Or if you just had something at the house, a little spread at the house, we want to hear about that. Do you have any concerns after this game? Like I said, a lot of people were hyping up UAB, man. They were saying UAB is going to be one of the best defenses Georgia faces all year. They throw out their backup quarter. I don't know what you call Stetson at this point. I guess he's the backup, Trent. I guess Stetson is the backup. They throw him out there. He throws 9 for 11, 279 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, what the hell?
I don't even call him backup anymore. I just call him the EP.
The EP? What does that mean?
He's just an emergency plan.
Emergency what?
The emergency plan.
The emergency plan.
They're gonna put him in every single time that Kirby's got doubts about who his backup quarterback is or who's starting the game. He's coming with Stetson. Stetson's never gonna be second string. He's never gonna be third string.
Stetson is
He's never
the
gonna
EP.
be fourth string. He's the emergency plan.
I love it. Somebody's calling in. I love that. Stetson is the EP. I can dig that, Trent. I can dig that. Hey, you're on the air with Paul and Trent on the Postgame Overreaction show. Who are we talking with? Steven, where are you calling from, man?
I'm in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Cookeville, Tennessee. What's going on, man? Yeah, Steven.
I just wanted to make a quick point because one of the topics of conversation that gets thrown out there in recent years is, wow, why did Georgia let Justin Fields get away? Just keep in mind when you look at the quarterback situation right now, Georgia was led to the cusp of a national championship. Maybe not led, but certainly helped by Jake Fromm, a true freshman. How amazing was that? And people wonder why they didn't just bench him in favor of Justin Fields.
Yeah, I mean, so are you referencing like Brock coming in and saving the day this year, or what?
Well, just the fact that Georgia doesn't have this guy that's just stepped forward and said, no, this is my job. I'm the quarterback. I'm great. I'm the best. Similar to the way Stafford did as a true freshman, that Fromm did as a true freshman, that some guys just, it's like they grab it and it's just we kind of expect that. And we get spoiled by great players. And when we have this, when we're not great at a position at a program like Georgia, it's like you see how spoiled we are.
Oh, I could see that point. Yeah, I mean, Georgia's had really good quarterback play for a long time, and now you're having to see a guy that's not the prototypical quarterback in Stetson Bennett getting out there, and he showed what he could do. I see where you're coming from with that point, though, Steven. What was on the spread for food today, man, while you're watching the game?
I'm real simple. I like baked chicken. I have to eat clean these days. I like baked chicken and fruit and vegetables.
Baked chicken and fruit and vegetables. I was not expecting that, Steven. I was thinking like a chili today or something.
Yeah, I really have to eat clean. I'm at that point in my life. So.
Well, there you go, man. There you go. Well, we hope to hear from you next week after a big win for the Dogs against South Carolina. How about it?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man. I see where he was going with that, Trent. I see where he was going. Barry Anderson said, what was Stet's QBR today? Had to be off the chart. It was, yeah. It was a whopping
9,428.
No, it was 400. Where is it? 444.9. 444.9. Tony Hall says, enjoy the win. Way too many worry warts. A Dog fan working up here in Grande Prairie, Alberta, Canada. Getting the game any way I can. Go Dogs. So we got a Canadian showing up. Appreciate that, Tony Hall. String Gene says, Fields definitely was not ready at the time. He quit instead of staying with the program. Hindsight. Let's move forward from the Fields talk here because I don't think any of that applies necessarily. I don't think Brock's ready to be out there. So, but yeah, Barry Anderson said, holy crap for Stetson Bennett's 449.9. I don't know the last time. Maybe when Dave calls in, he can give us a look into the QBR, but I can't remember the last time Georgia had a quarterback rating 444.9.
Grayson Lambert.
Oh, Grayson Lambert, yeah.
21 against South Carolina.
You must be riding through like the back roads right now because your connection is absolutely terrible. But yeah, I heard you. Grayson Lambert. Let's see here. Guys, like I said, line's open. Line's open. Let me get Steven off of here. Line is open, guys. 706-363-3773. Big win for the Dogs, 56-7. If you're just joining us, we've been talking a lot about the offense, which everybody was talking about leading up to this game. Stetson Bennett versus Carson Beck. Stetson showed up. Carson Beck had the one interception that put UAB on the board. What was up with UAB's Trent, you might have left the stadium by this time, but somebody's calling in. We'll get to it in a second. What was up with UAB's turnover chain? That thing was absolutely wild. We'll talk about that in a second, though. Yeah, you didn't see it. It was actually kind of crazy.
All
right. Well, thanks so much for calling in, man. That was nice. That was sounds like we got a drunk fan there calling in from the 252. Appreciate you. Hope you had he sounds like he had a hell of a game, Trent. That might be the MVP right there. He was feeling himself. Justin Farmer says, I personally think the reason why Jake Fromm regressed as a QB was because we didn't have any good offensive coordinators at the time. Didn't have anyone that could develop the QBs. You might be right on that. No, I know that wasn't you, Steven. I know that wasn't you. That was somebody else. that was a crazy call there. Glad I had the dump button ready to go. I don't know where he was going with that. Barry Anderson, we said we were absolutely loaded in the tight end room. Yeah. So, guys, if you didn't see prior to the game, Anthony Dasher over at UJ Sports tweeted out, because he was there in the press box, that Darnell Washington and Tyke Smith did not have their boots on. They just had shorts and their jersey on, but they did not have a boot on either one of their feet. Right? Yeah. Any one of their feet. So, maybe next week you get one of those guys back.
Looked like they were moving well on the sideline.
Yeah, they looked all right, Trent?
Yeah, I mean, I thought George Pickens looked really well.
I don't know. I have this weird suspicion that like Pickens might be back sooner than we expect. I don't know. I feel it. And every win I feel like is a motivator for him to get back on the field. Like everybody says that when they call in, this Georgia offense, I still don't think we've seen the best of it. Obviously, you play a team like UAB, who, you know, for everything that it's worth, could go on and win their conference. I didn't see much of anything from UAB in terms of passing. They tried out two different quarterbacks. Their rushing attack, they did have 127 yards, but that was on 36 carries, so averaged out to 3.5 yards a carry. I didn't see much in their rushing attack, but again, you're playing against Georgia, and I think the standard now, guys, is Georgia is the number 2 team in America. Like, they really look like the number 2 team in America, especially after seeing Ohio State lose today. You obviously have Alabama, who's going to be, you know, your final test, so to speak. If you're playing a video game, it's like the final main boss is Alabama. But, you know, they look really, really good. Let me get this phone call, Trent. Hey, you're on the line with Paul and Trent. Who we got the pleasure of speaking with?
This is Saxon Dog.
Saxon Dog.
Yeah, the one and only.
The one and only. I'm going to put Saxon Dog too, Rob, just so you know. Do you have a DAWG, right?
Yes, DAWG.
If you guys don't know, this is Rob, Saxon Dog, over on the Dog Vent. Been a longtime member of the Dog Vent, editor of UGAsports.com. Saxon Dog, what's up, man?
Well, a couple of thoughts, just a little bit on the offense, and then I thought we might talk a little bit about the defense.
Let's do it.
Number one, this is the opposite of what you expect from the Georgia offense in a game like this. Everybody comes in saying Georgia will run the ball. We've got elite running backs. We've got wide receivers who are out, missing in action. We've got a quarterback missing in action. We're going to run the ball. UAB prepares in that way. And then we come out throwing missiles. So I love that because that looks like what we can expect for the future, for this season. No more of this leaning on the running game. You better be prepared for everything.
What did you
agree
think?
With that?
No, yeah, I totally agree because my prediction over on the site was I think that the game plan is going to be extremely vanilla. I think Georgia runs the ball. The defense stops UAB. UAB goes back with more bruises than they came with, and Georgia wins. I think I put like 34-10 or something like that. Did not mention anything about the passing game in my prediction. I don't think anybody predicted this, especially Stetson Bennett coming out. 9 of his throws were, or 5 of his 9 throws, Rob, were touchdowns. Like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, it was crazy, and he was on fire. I mean, they were in stride passes. It just didn't look like Georgia offense. So I like that. My question is on the defense. Does Clemson have less offense than UAB? I mean, you got to wonder.
No. But at the same time, how hype? I think hype plays into it, Rob.
Oh, I know.
I think hype plays into it a little bit, and you've got so much adrenaline running through you when you're playing a team like Clemson. Whereas when you're playing UAB and you give up a long play, you kind of hit yourself in the head a little bit, but you know you're going to stop them on the next third down. You're not going to let them get 2 first downs in a row. Yeah. And I don't think that happened. I'm going to look through that, but I don't know if that happened.
We spent the whole offense. I'm sorry. I think we spent the whole offseason preparing for Clemson, and we had a beautiful game plan, and they had a beautiful defensive game plan against us. But in this game, I think the defense was still strong. It was a little looser. It was a little bit easier to run on us today, but we still got the job done. It would have been a shutout, without that pick 6.
Justin Farmer over in the
Georgia.
Oh, go ahead, Trent. Go ahead. Sorry.
Georgia rotated a lot more today too. There was a lot more defensive linemen.
Yes.
Georgia only played 6 defensive linemen, I believe, last week, and there was a constant rotation today with defensive linemen. So I don't think Georgia had some
Yeah, the participation chart for last week was 100%, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, people just didn't come out of the game, and that's an excellent point. I noticed we were subbing even from the beginning, and I heard names of players I didn't know we had.
Yeah,
which doesn't happen much with me. But so, that was great. It was just an all-around feel-good game, in my opinion.
Rob, Justin Farmer over in the chat says, if this was Jim Chaney or Coley, 99% of our plays would be running and short passes. You agree with that? Is it Monken that's? I mean, obviously he's calling the plays, but if like you said, this old Georgia team that we've known to watch over the last several years, this game would have been kind of close in the first half, regardless of who is at quarterback. Close in the first half, some dumb penalties, dumb mistakes on offense, something like that. Georgia would have gone into the locker room 24-10, or hell, it might have been closer. You've got the announcers talking about, could this be the game that Georgia loses? They're not on track after Clemson. They come out in the second half, and then they start running the ball down people's throats. And I think that's what everybody expected, and it was the exact opposite of that, Rob. Yeah,
I think part of it is Kirby's rebuke of all the narrative that he can't field an offense, that we can't score points, that we can't do what LSU or Alabama has done, and that whoever the quarterback was, we were going to prove different this week. Now, when we play against better competition, which eventually I guess we will, then it may be different. But boy, I mean, Brock, Bowers, it was just kind of amazing some of what we saw today. I will hang up and let someone else have a chance, but just wanted to say it was a feel-good game, and I enjoyed the show.
Rob, before you go, I brought this up. UAB, it looks like to me, and don't quote me here, only had 2 drives they had 1, 2, 3. They had 4 drives that were over 4 plays. So they had 2 drives that were 5. They had 1 that was 7 that ended up being an interception there in the first quarter. And then they had an 11-play drive in the third quarter that ended up on a turnover on down. So Georgia held them they had 14 drives. 6 of those were 3-and-outs, and their average field position was on their own 24-yard line where they started off.
That's amazing.
So,
that's even better than it looked.
Yeah.
But what would happen was they would get a nice play, and then we'd get a sack on the next play or a big play on offense. And this is very much a big play defense. I think it will be throughout the year, and it's just going to be hard to sustain anything on these guys because there are just so many really fast people on our D.
Yep,
okay, well, I'll hang up and let you go.
Hey, Saxon, we appreciate you calling. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, see you. Trent, here's a stat for you, man. I'm about to count them up, and it might take me a minute, so you might need to fill some airtime here. I'm going to count up how many defensive players registered at least a tackle or an interception. So are you almost home? Are we going to see your mug here in just a second? You still driving to the backwoods?
I'm on South Springs Road, man.
Oh, you're right by the house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Goodness gracious. 32 guys registered a tackle in this game. 32 guys. I don't know if I've ever seen. The participation chart is going to be insane. I'm going to have a tough time with putting all these names in the grade book for the grades on Sunday, and then you're going to have an even better time doing the participation report there on who played and who didn't. Yeah, have fun with that. Channing Tindall led the team with 7 tackles. My man, he had a sack. Tresman Marshall, second on the team with 4 tackles, tied with Trayvon Walker with 4. Nakobe Dean had 3. I don't feel like I saw Nakobe much in the second half. He did come out in the third quarter, first couple drives, but after that they started taking out the starters. Lewis had that interception. And then also the true freshman from up in Baltimore, Dumas Johnson with the pick 6. Pick 6. So Scene had a pick and also Dumas Johnson. So hold on, Keely Ringo, 3 interceptions. There you go. 3 interceptions. They finished with 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. and no fumbles. So 3 turnovers by UAB. Again, guys, just a dominant game. You could talk about a quarterback. Here's what's funny, man. Here's what's funny to me. Middle of the, where is it? It's in my notes. Yeah, we're still in the second quarter. We're still in the second quarter, guys. And RG3, who I think did a pretty bang-up job. First time I've listened to him call a game. RG3 said there is now a QB controversy with 3 minutes left in the second quarter of the Georgia UAB game. I had to put a star next to it. I don't think there is a quarterback controversy at all. The quarterback controversy was that we didn't know who was going to be starting this game, whether it be Carson Beck or Stetson Bennett. We had an inclination that it was going to be Stetson, but there's no quarterback controversy. Once JT is healthy, he is the starter, no questions asked. I just thought that was kind of funny. We've got another caller calling in here, Trent, so let me get them on the line. I thought that was pretty funny. RG3 said, he said, yeah. So, hey, who we got on the line?
This is OU Herschel Walker.
OU Herschel Walker. What's up, man? How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. How was the game for you? What were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, my prediction was 41-3, so we actually exceeded that.
Okay.
I thought we, just like everybody else, I thought we'd run it more. You know, I thought we would spend more time doing that, but you know what? Stetson's comfortable in the offense. Stetson's a good option if something were to happen to JT because he's run it before. But, you know, obviously I think we need JT later in the season and we need him healthy. So it gives us a great option, and it let us bring Carson along and not put his feet in the fire and, you know, put pressure on him. So I think it was a good move.
I think, you know, OU, I think one big thing that folks are going to talk about, and it's going to be the talk of the week, so to speak, is, well, do we need JT Daniels against South Carolina? Do we need JT Daniels against Vanderbilt? Do we need JT Daniels against Arkansas? But here's
Herbstreit on game day. Kurt Herbstreit said if the same team showed up that showed up in Clemson, he felt like Kirby could punt on first down, let the defense win the games, and we would be fine until we got to Auburn.
That's pretty damn funny, and that might be accurate. Honestly, that might be accurate. That really might.
Maybe our best weapon may be Kermata.
Yeah, no, that's definitely been the case. It feels like. Are you in any way, shape, or form worried if Kirby were to come out and say, look, because first off, I don't think Kirby's going to tell us anything about this quarterback. We're not going to know who the quarterback is for next week until, 5 minutes before kickoff, it feels like, unless somebody lets us know prior to. I feel like. Now, there might be, he might feel generous and might feel like Christmas, and he might give us an insight into who's going to be the quarterback against South Carolina. But are you at all worried if Stetson Bennett has to come back out against South Carolina?
No. I don't want JT to play until at least Arkansas.
Okay, here's the problem with that OU.
I don't want him to hurt himself.
Here's the problem with that OU. Game reps, though. Game reps. Does that start to kick in there? You don't have enough game reps. You put him in against Arkansas. Let's say he goes 15 for 25, 2 touchdowns and interception. Doesn't look great. And then you got to go to Auburn. That's the only side effect of not playing him, because then if you don't play him, obviously you didn't play him against UAB. If you don't play him against South Carolina and Vandy, that's 3 weeks off. Do you feel that? That's my only rebuttal to that. I would agree. I don't think you have to play him until you play Auburn.
Okay, how did missing the first 6 games last year affect him when he played Mississippi State in his first game?
Not at all. Not at all.
There you go.
Fair point.
There's your answer.
Fair point. Touche, OU. Touche.
My two players of the game 2 weeks in a row, and not counting defense, the 2 players that stand out as absolute weapons, not really shocking. Kermata for one, for sure, and obviously the speed of Arian Smith and the other guys covering, but also Bowers. I mean, Bowers is he's way more than a freshman.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Camarda, speaking of Camarda, 3 punts, netted 149 yards, average 49.7. Damn near, let's just give him 50 a kick. Longest was 60, had 2 down to inside the 20. I mean, damn. He's
a weapon. He's
a
weapon. And the only thing I could think of was, you know what? When we won the national championship in 1980, I was in the stands when we played South Carolina, and going down that same sidelines, I watched a freshman lead us to win. And then I watched Brock Bowers do the same thing today. Of course, he wasn't Herschel.
Right.
But it was a freshman going down the same sideline. It was just pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. What was on the tailgate spread today, OU?
Actually, I'm in Texas, so I actually did it here at the house. I cooked the pork loin, we had that and some fixings with it.
That's all you got to do. Well, OU, man, we appreciate you calling in as always, my friend.
Yes, sir. Talk
right.
to you next time.
Yes, sir. Talk to you. I got to join my own callback again. Let me start the callback. There we go. Trent left us. I think Trent is on his Trent is close to being home, guys. So you don't have to look at my face the whole time. Trent is, I think he's like 2 or 3 minutes away. You don't have to look at my face for much longer. Even though I've been on here for an hour by myself. Just leaving me here. Thank God I got a haircut. Didn't have to wear a hat. Barry Anderson says he was beating Bama in the third. Talking about Stetson Bennett. Let's see. Justin Farmer. We didn't play football in 12 months and Stetson still balled out tonight. Pretty good QB. Bowers and Washington together will be insane. Oh, yes, Snark. Oh, yes. I don't know how you're going to cover it. And then, if you have to, throw Fitzpatrick in there for some blocking. We know he can do that. I don't know how. I really don't know how. When Georgia gets all of its weapons back, defensive coordinators are going to plan against this offense. The only thing that can stop Georgia's offense is Georgia's offense. Getting too creative with it, trying to, do plays that don't need to really necessarily happen, things of that nature. That's the only way you're going to stop. It's the only way you're going to stop this offense. And I'm not trying to sound like, a broken record, but the only way you can stop Georgia's offense is Georgia's offense stopping itself. It's just what it is. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but maybe Alabama's defense is good enough to stop Georgia's offense once they get everybody back. But I'm looking at this, I keep, looking over here to this schedule, and I just don't see a team. South Carolina had trouble against Eastern Carolina today. Barely squeaked out a win. Vandy, I don't even know. Did Vandy play this weekend? I'm sure they did because it's week 2. Let's see, Vanderbilt football. Have they played yet? When you type in Vanderbilt, let's see. Vanderbilt's playing tonight at Colorado State. What's the spread on this game? What's the spread on Vandy, Colorado? Vandy, Colorado State spread. Show me the spread. Is there a spread? Let's see. Wow. Vanderbilt's plus 6.5. Colorado State's minus 6.5 to win that game. So, again, Vanderbilt is a 6.5 point dog to Colorado State tonight. Then you have Arkansas after that, which I haven't paid much attention to Arkansas either. Let's see, Arkansas football. They're playing Texas. Yeah, they're playing Texas. Oh, my goodness. They're playing Texas. Folks, Arkansas, the Razorbacks of Arkansas are up 16-0 against Texas with 2 minutes and 24 seconds to go in the second quarter. Wow. Okay, maybe you need JT back for Arkansas. They're beating Texas. I did not expect that. What's going on? Arkansas's KJ Jefferson's 12 of 15 for 82 yards. They've got a touchdown on the ground. Looks like they got a touchdown as well somewhere else. Not an offensive touchdown. Let's see. Jeez, Texas only has 57 total yards. Arkansas has 219 right now. Wow. Maybe Arkansas is going to pull off the old upset. Sam Pittman. You got to root for Sam, right? Got to root for Sam. App State 14, Miami 12 right now, Barry Anderson says. Oh, my goodness. Grey Goose says our running game up the middle is still thumbs down. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I put it in my notes here. Why is James Cook running through the middle when you have a bruiser back like Kendall Milton, a bruiser back like Zeus, and even, hell, Kenny McIntosh for that matter? All three of those guys, much bigger, stronger type guys, and it seems like they get the shovel routes to the outside, whereas James Cook was running through the middle. Yes, he had the touchdown through the middle where was just a great display of everything, but at the same time, the running game is a little weary in my eyes. Jake Patterson says, new to channel, don't really understand college football much as an Australian fan. The one thing I don't get is why there are so many high-scoring games like 56-7. Can someone explain? Well, this game, Jake, was against a directional football school. So it was a smaller school, not an SEC opponent. And 56 is, you don't see it that often. So there you go. Let's see. Brett Weimer says UK 14, Mizzou 7. Jeez, what is going on? Let me put my other headset in. Let me put my other thing in here. So yeah, we've got some crazy stuff going on overall in the SEC right now. String Jean says UAB is an elite defense. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm very curious to see if they are, to be honest with you. I don't believe it, but might be. UK is the real deal. Absolutely, Barry. Absolutely. Absolutely he is. Trying to get into here, do a little something. Let's see. Turn this down. Get some of these comments out of here. Yeah, get out of here. All right, good deal. Got them out. I predict UK will finish second in East over Florida, Barry Anderson says. Very well could. Very well could. Texas-Arkansas is a good one playing Smash Mouth D, Grey Goose. I would like to see, if Arkansas wins that game, I would definitely like to see what they're going to look like. I haven't watched Arkansas this year. I don't even know who they played in the first game, to be honest. Alex Waller's trying to help out our friend Jake there on that. And Trent should be joining us back in any second. Before Trent joins us back, the line is open, guys, 706-363-3773. We want to hear from you guys. If you're just now leaving your tailgate, you might still be there. Who knows? Let us know. We want to hear from you guys. Overall, just a dominant performance from Georgia. I'm curious to see what Kirby has to say in his press conference. Going down the receiving list here, Brock Bowers topped the list. 3 receptions, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns for the big guy, 89-yard. Just took it to the house, was playing no games. Jermaine Burton, the touchdown of 73 yards that nobody knows that it happened unless you were inside the stadium because it wasn't on TV. I still have yet to see that play. I'm not kidding you. I haven't seen that play yet. Adonai Mitchell, 2 receptions for 42 yards. Arian Smith had the 61-yard touchdown pass, his lone reception of the game. Ladd McConkey finished with a reception for 32 yards. Kenny McIntosh, Justin Robinson, and Jalen Johnson all had 1 catch for 12 yards apiece, with Justin Robinson getting that 1 touchdown from Carson Beck, and then Fitz had 1 reception for 6 yards. Barry Anderson, what do y'all think is the deal with J-Pod missing the close ones? You know, kickers are a sensitive subject, Barry, and I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to it. I'm not worried about Podlesny right now. If he misses one next week, maybe it's a topic of the show. I think it was just one of those things where, yeah, he missed it. It's 32 yards. It was a chip shot. For whatever reason, he missed it. He missed the one last week. It's just one of those things where you try to let those kickers work themselves out of their own funk. Let's see what they do. If they do anything different necessarily in practice this week. Curious to see, obviously with Will Muschamp out there now, if he has anything different he could maybe give to Hot Pod there. I don't know. I'm not worried about Podlesny right now. That could change. It definitely could change. But I am not worried about him right now. We did see a couple of true freshmen get in the game on the defensive side of the ball. Just going down the list here of participants. Nyland Green had 2 tackles. Munden was in there as well with 2 tackles. Dan Jackson, old Dan Jackson, the walk-on, had 2 tackles. Ryan Davis got to see some time at middle linebacker. He registered a tackle. MJ Sherman had the half tackle for loss there. Darian Kendrick also in there as well. Xavier Sori we got to see. Javon Bullard, another freshman. Chaz Chambliss was in there on a ton. He had a tackle. Let's see here. Bill Norton, who we didn't see much of last year, was in there for that other half tackle for loss. I think it was with Sherman. He had a tackle. And obviously Demas Johnson getting the pick 6 to rule the day. Did Arian return? Barry Anderson says no, he did not. Had a bruise. I don't know if he would have came back anyway. Looks like we're getting Trent back in here. He's setting up. Ringo had the pick. He sure did. But overall, guys, I don't know if you could have asked for anything much better than what you saw today. I don't think anybody expected to see 56-7, much less see Stetson Bennett tie the passing touchdowns for Georgia in a single game with 5. I don't know about you guys. I was really hoping that Stetson Bennett was going to get that final touchdown to get 6, just to kind of eliminate everything there. I was really curious to see if he was going to get that one. Instead, Carson Beck got the 6th touchdown, which I think has only happened a few times in Georgia history, 6 passing touchdowns. There's only been 5 passing touchdowns from one quarterback in a game. It's happened a few times, I think 5 or 6 times. Stetson was close to breaking that. Overall, great performance. Guys, if I'm rating it, offense A+, defense A+, offense A because Carson Beck had the pick 6. As close to an A+ as you can get. Defense A+. I mean, a lot of the starters, like Trent said, hey, Trent, you're live, buddy. I can hear you. You there?
I'm here.
Hey, Trent's there. I'm going to admit you into the Zoom so we can get you in here so you're not just looking at me, guys. And then special teams, you had Camarda, who was an A+. You had Pod miss the kick. So you're kind of in between this weird, I don't know what you would call it. I think I got you in the Zoom there, Trent. Are you there, bud?
Yeah, you see me?
I can't see you yet. I can't see you yet in the Zoom. I see you in Skype. I don't see you in Zoom yet. Guys, the phone line is open, 706-363-3773. Trent's got us playing in his background. This is crazy. We're echoing everywhere. I'm going to mute that, so maybe that'll help for a second while Trent gets set up. Overall, great win again, guys. I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, we can go down through the list of everybody on Georgia, but I want to to be honest, I want to talk about these other teams that Georgia is going to have to play soon. And we're going to kind of dive deep into the SEC, where Arkansas is up right now 16-0 at halftime against number 15 Texas. Mississippi State's 14-3 right now against NC State. 1 minute left in the second quarter. Ole Miss is up on Austin Peay 14-0. Yeah. Kentucky 14-7, 13 minutes left to go in the second quarter. That game's going to take a little while. LSU's playing McNeese. I thought it was McNeese State. It's McNeese. LSU's up 7-0 going into the second quarter there. Auburn put up 62, and it was against Alabama State. Not sure if I'm worried too much about that. Let's see what Auburn did in that box score, though. Dang, they only passed for 100. Auburn only passed for 174 yards. Bo Nix was 9 of 17 for 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. TJ Finley, 2 for 2 for 66 and a touchdown. They did rush the ball really well, though. Hunter had 147 yards for those guys. Bigsby had 122. Let me try to get Trent into this Zoom here, guys. Give me 1 second. Hey, Trent, if you're listening to me, you might have to turn your camera off of Skype so you can turn it on Zoom. It might be why it's messing you up there, bud. And Auburn, oh, here we go. Auburn, Demetrius Robertson. 3 receptions for 61 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also had a 36-yard rushing touchdown. D-Rob with 3 total touchdowns for Auburn. That'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how he will line up against Georgia in just a few weeks. Grey Goose says, Davis, Wyatt, and Stack are road grader beast. Got to keep them all healthy all year. I totally agree with you on that. Let's see. Nice win for Oregon today. Great game for both teams. Yeah, that was, and he said high-flying offenses. I don't know if C.J. Stroud's the answer for Ohio State at quarterback. He very well could be. He's a young kid. But Oregon found a game plan and stuck to it with those outside runs. You know, and everybody's going to claim Oregon as the what do you call it? The next big thing. I'm sure Oregon's going to make a huge jump this upcoming polls, but Ohio State, I don't know if they're as good as advertised. Brett Weimer says Kentucky seems to have found a passing attack, and Barry Anderson says Kentucky's a very balanced, good team. I told you guys that last week. Yeah, I think that they are really good in terms of probably the best team Georgia's going to play, and might be even better than Florida. Honestly, I'm trying to look at my. There we go. Yeah, Georgia's got to play Auburn, then Kentucky and Florida. That's going to be probably their toughest run of the season for sure. Let's go over to Tennessee, 41-34 against Pittsburgh. Oh boy. Florida though, it's interesting to me. Florida 42-20. They won against USF. Emory Jones 14-22 for 151 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. They brought in Richardson, though, went 3 for 3, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A little QB controversy down in Gainesville. Also, Richardson ran the ball for 4 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Emory Jones had 13 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. Pierce had 5 for 55 and a touchdown. They were playing against, USF, not the best bang-up team in the world. But I think there might, just might, be a little QB controversy down in Florida as we get closer to that Georgia-Florida game. Trent, are you with us there?
Yeah, you had me muted.
Well,
Couldn't hear anything.
I was muted. I was muted over there on your screen. All right, I'm going to bring you in. You guys, what is that, Paw Patrol in the background? I love it.
Well, is that what I'm watching?
I think you're watching Paw Patrol, man. We'll see. Everybody's going to see it in a second. Let's see. Pretty sure you're watching the old Paw Patrol, bud.
No, bro.
Yeah, I think you were. I'm not just saying.
It changed.
All right, guys, I'm bringing Trent on. He's made it home. There he is. Hey, there he is. He's on live. He's on. Trent, you went to the game today. For the folks that are just now tuning in, what was that overall experience like inside Sanford?
I mean, it was good to see, 90,000 fans back in the stadium. It was students were hot.
Oh yeah, that's how you feel about it. Trent was so excited to tell us about how the stadium was that he just decided to jump off of the Zoom call. He was so excited to tell us about it. We still got him on the Skype, but we'll move forward. Guys, the phone line's open. We want to hear from you guys. 706-363-3773. Hey, Dave McMahon, if you're watching, we'd love to talk to you about some stats. If you want to go ahead and call in. Big game for the Dogs, though, guys. Big game. Folks thought that this defense of UAB was going to be something special. Georgia ended up 56-7. Overall, great performance. Little scary with the rushing attack. Yes, they did finish 4.3 yards a carry. 38 attempts, 163 yards. If there's anything to, I guess, complain about, would be it seems like to me the running backs don't get in enough to really like gain that momentum. Nick Chubb needed it a lot. Nick Chubb needed it to where he needed 10 carries to kind of get himself in that groove, and then every carry after that was going to be 6 to 7 yards a pop. It feels like for Georgia, though, for whatever reason, they're rotating the running backs in maybe a little too soon. I don't know. What's your guys' take on that? I'm curious to know, like Barry Anderson, Justin, Grey Goose, does that feel like to you guys? It feels like that to me a little bit, to where you're rotating these running backs in maybe too fast and they're not able to get their feet underneath them, it seems like. And so you're seeing these guys where Zamir White had 7 attempts for 34, Edwards had 7 for 29, Milton had 8 for 26, McIntosh 4 for 20, Cook 5 for 18. You're not seeing, I don't know, and it might be a good thing you keep them all healthy throughout the year. That will be kind of the only, if you really even wanted to nitpick the offense any, that would be the only problem, would be that you just didn't have those guys, you didn't have those guys to where they could get that consistency on the offensive side of the ball. Hey, Trent, are you still with us? I think Trent's computer died. I think I heard the noise. It was like doo-doop, and then his whole computer died out. So we might be riding solo right now. Dave, if you're with us, love to hear from you. Because right now Trent is underwater. Barry Anderson says, I agree, too much rotation at running back. Think Kirby is doing that just to keep them healthy. I agree. That's probably what's happening, honestly, is he's doing it to kind of keep them free. I just tried to call myself. What is going on right now? Skype, chill out. I'm not trying to call myself. What are you doing? Let me open this back up here. Before you guys call in, I don't know what just happened. It sounded like I was calling myself. Join the call. Yes. Join. Yes. I'm not trying to call myself. Hold on. Let me start a new. You start a new one. Goodness. What is going on here? Send this back to Trent. If he ever gets back on with us, send the new link to him. Phone line's still open, guys. I have no idea what just happened. I was calling myself there for a second. That's live air for you when you're talking to yourself. But, we got some guys in the comments. After a 56-7 game, I'm just glad you guys are sticking with us. What is the updated score? I want to see. Hold on, we got a phone call. Hey, you're live on the air with Paul.
Hey, Paul, this is Dave McMahon.
Dave McStats. What's up, man?
How are you? Not bad. I'm jealous of all those people that got to watch the complete Georgia game. I mean, I didn't get to see it yet. We'll watch it all, but I've been reading a ton of reviews. I've been reading obviously all the stats, because you know what, stats is fun for me. So I've been reading all that, but I paid a little bit of attention during the game, obviously, because I sent you some information. But I have some pretty good numbers so far for you.
What you got, man? I'm curious. My folks in the chat they've been waiting patiently for some obscure stats from Dave McMahon.
Okay, well, first of all, I still think it's kind of funny that it seems like JT Daniels has been with Georgia for a long time, but yet he's only played one game at Sanford Stadium, which I still think is kind of weird, because all the other games he played were neutral and away games. So he's only played one time at Sanford. I guess he's played more scrimmages and practices there than actual game time. But a couple other quick little things I have. I believe you once used to. Obviously the 5 touchdown passes by Stetson Bennett ties a Georgia record. They've like 7 times Georgia's had a 5 touchdown pass game, and by 6 different players. Aaron Murray was the only player that did it twice. The last time Georgia had a player do it was Murray himself in that 2013 Capital One Bowl against Nebraska, So I think that's pretty impressive. And he actually had, I believe he was 10 for 12 passing. I think you once said 9 earlier, but I believe his official numbers was 10 for 12. Is that what you have?
In the official stat book here, it's got 9 for 11. Let me refresh it. Maybe they messed up. Maybe you're on top of it more than I am. On the official stat book, they got Stetson 9 of 11. I could be wrong, but that's what they got in the stat book.
I am reading something from one of the sports info people, and it says 10 for 12.
Well, there we
go.
go.
I got to double check that before I send my article. But if it is 10 for 12, the 10 of all the people that have had that have had 5 touchdown passes for Georgia, the 10 would be tied for the fewest amount of completions thrown in a 5 touchdown game by a Georgia Bulldog. The 10 it would have tied with David Green had 10 against an LSU team, and then the 12 receptions would be the fewest. 12 attempts would be the fewest in a 5 touchdown game by a Bulldog.
Huh.
So I think that's.
I think
great.
you are. Barry Anderson's saying 10 for 12, 288. So maybe the
there you go, Barry.
stat broadcast just missed a 3-yard pass there somehow.
There you go. Brock Bowers. I mean, are you sure? I think on my way home from today's game that I worked, did you say that you were not on the Brock Bowers bandwagon? I thought you were the first.
No. That's the problem. See, Dave, I wasn't on the Brock Bowers train early on. I was on the A.D. Mitchell train. I was not on the Brock Bowers train. I have since tweeted out and pledged my allegiance to jump on the Bowers bandwagon today.
If you're allowed.
Yeah, if there is room still on the Bowers bandwagon, I would like to be on that train.
Can you name the last Georgia tight end to have a 100-yard game?
Oh, man. Is it recent?
It's semi-recent. I mean, not super recent, but semi-recent.
I don't know why I'm thinking Arthur Lynch.
Yeah, the guy's name is Orson Charles. Back in the 2011 Boise State game.
Wow. It's been 10 years since Georgia's had a tight end over 100 yards.
Correct.
Wow.
The 89-yard TD reception that he had is actually tied for the 8th longest touchdown reception in Georgia history. And I believe it's the longest by a player officially known as a tight end. A couple of players way back in the 60s and 50s, that position really wasn't called a tight end, but some played the end close up, and some played it wide and split far, but they never really called it a tight end or not. So officially, I guess it is the longest pass play by a Georgia tight end ever, I guess. So congratulations to you, Brock Bowers, on the 89-yard touchdown grab. Speaking of long grabs, Arian Smith, once again, he's had 4 career receptions, and 3 of the 4 he's had have gone for over 30 yards. So he just makes big plays, and we're not surprised with that because the guy has some speed there. Excuse me. Defensive-wise, there's a couple of cool little stats I have on defense. Georgia now has 2 pick sixes this season, one last week and one this week by Dumas Johnson. And Dumas Johnson, so the last year Georgia had 2 pick sixes, but both were Eric Stokes. The last time Georgia had had pick sixes in the same season by multiple players was in 2010. Those 3 players were Bakari Rambo, Vance Cuff, and Jakar Hamilton had pick sixes that year. So that's the last time Georgia had 2 different players with pick sixes. Georgia's had, obviously they've allowed 10 points this year. The last time Georgia allowed 10 total points, I mean, obviously it kind of sucks because it wasn't all against the defense. The last time Georgia had 10 total points allowed in the first 2 games combined was 2003. And that season, Georgia also opened up with Clemson, so it's kind of mirrored. The second game was against Middle Tennessee State, was the last time that happened there. This is the 7th time in the Kirby Smart era that Georgia's had 50 or more points. But overall, it's the 3rd highest point total ever under Kirby Smart, and the 49-point margin is the 2nd largest point margin of victory for the Bulldogs under Kirby Smart.
Damn.
So I am working on some of those numbers and maybe a few extra more for my by the numbers piece, which should be done tonight or first thing tomorrow, and then I head back home tomorrow.
There we go. And I've got Roddy waiting on the wings, standing in Sanford Stadium. So just a cool segue right there.
That's a good back-to-back pairing if I ever heard one.
There you go. All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, great show.
Yes, sir. Hey, Roddy, you there? Roddy, can you hear me? Hey, Roddy, can you hear me? Roddy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we've got Roddy live on air with us.
Sir.
Hey, there he is. Your audio, your video's looking a little weird, but standing inside Sanford Stadium, Roddy Nabolsi, publisher of UGAsports.com. He was there for the whole game. What's going on, Roddy?
Not much, just going through all the pictures, trying to get up a good photo gallery for our readers at UGAsports.com, trying to get up some good classic shots. I mean, there's so much. Everything went right today, so there's a lot of photos to go through. I'm really behind. I just uploaded 171. I think I got about another 150 to go.
Wow.
Plus, there were so many players that got in that had never been on the field before. I mean, it's like, hey, okay, there's 3 or 4 pictures of Broderick Jones. There's Amarius Mims. There's, hey, look, Lindbergh's out there. Jalen Kimber's getting some snaps. It's just absolutely crazy. So trying to go through all this stuff. Plus, there's all the action shots, all the touchdowns, all the tackles for loss. So just going through all that, and trying to make sure that all the content coming at UGAsports.com is lights out. We've had a great story from Jason Budd already, the instant analysis, and, of course, Anthony Dasher's pieces there. So good stuff coming.
Were you in the Kirby Smart press conference?
No, I missed that. I was actually because we're still doing it via Zoom, even though we're all shoulder to shoulder here.
Yeah.
On the sidelines, they wanted to do a Zoom, so I get it. It's an overabundance of caution.
Right.
That's what we're looking at. So they're still doing the things via Zoom. So
I was just curious.
And, they had some COVID cases recently, so I get why they don't want to get anybody close, because you just never know.
I was just curious if you were able to see or hear anything from what Kirby said after the game. Overall thoughts with Stetson playing. I don't think either one of us could have predicted 5 total touchdowns from Stetson. What was your takeaway from being on the field and seeing those guys and everything? Obviously, you had the news, man. You said Stetson Bennett was going to start. Damn if you didn't put your neck out on the line there, and look at you, going to get hit with a sprinkler as the reward of doing so.
Hey, yeah, we got mailed last year.
I know. I know.
I remember that, because those sons of bitches do turn all the way around.
Yeah, they do. I know.
Just
I've been
just
there.
Just a heads up.
Been there, done that,
you see it
my
coming
friend.
for me.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah,
I'll let
you
you
see
know.
it coming for me.
But
Give me a shout out.
What was your overall thoughts of Stetson out there?
Yeah, I called. I made the prediction that Stetson was going to start just because I know what he can do, and I know that Kirby would rather have consistency over fluctuation. Even if a guy is limited in what he can do, Kirby knows. Look, we can call these plays, we can call this scheme, we can call this protection, and this guy will get it done. And this is. Maybe we can't call this play, but this guy, when we call play X, he's going to deliver X every time. If we call Y, he can't do Y, so let's not call Y. Versus somebody else who has a high ceiling and a high floor, who you're not sure what you're going to get on each play, because you can coach around that. You can say, look, if this guy's going to give us the exact same consistency from play to play, then we'll stick with that. We'll just go with it. That's what we can do. Now, here's the thing. Beck does have a high ceiling, but he also has a high floor. He's boom or bust. Stetson Bennett, this guy, he just wins football games. And I know people say, well, he can't win the big one. Okay, he didn't win at Florida when he had his shoulders caved in, but he was up 14-0. And he didn't beat Alabama, but who the hell else beat Alabama? He's the only one to get up the 26, whatever lead on them. He's the only one to go into halftime with a lead on him. This guy is a big-time player. People don't understand it because they saw some balls batted down, and everybody jumped all over his case. And I remember last week seeing DJ Ungalele having a couple passes batted. So it happens to everybody. It's just kind of a pet peeve of me that this guy is being dismissed because of his height when he's the same size as Bryce Young out at Alabama. It's ridiculous. Now, let's say in like the game against Kentucky or something like that, where they didn't score a whole lot. Okay, well, that's on you, but let's not bang on the guy's height. If he didn't get it done then maybe there's something to it. And let's go back to those two big games against Florida and Alabama. The defense got their asses kicked. Stetson Bennett don't tackle.
Yeah.
This wasn't all on him. So he can't win the big one. Well, hell, get your defense to make it stop. Let's cover the wheel route. Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's just a pet peeve of mine that everyone wants to hang it up on him, and to see all the fans just moan and bitch and kvetch about one of your own, a guy who saved your ass against Arkansas last year, beat Auburn, beat Tennessee, won a bunch of SEC games for you, and played with a separated shoulder in that Florida game trying to win it for you, even though he should have been on the sideline. And the respect he gets is zero. It's just garbage. That's so anyway, I put it out there. You asked what my feeling is. I was glad to see a guy who last year he was told, we don't see any course of you getting action. We don't see any course of action where you actually get to play a whole lot. And he stayed anyway, and then wound up being the guy when Jamie Newman opted out, DeJuan Mathis melted down. He was there to save the program for a while. Then this year, when the head coach comes out and says, yeah, you're like basically the number 3, because he was at Kirby Smart was asked who's number 2 after JT Daniels. He goes, it's Carson Beck, a freshman, or a redshirt. And he still sticks around.
Yeah.
He finished spring knowing he was a number 3 guy at best. He still stuck around. He could have gone somewhere else and played. He stuck around. And then today, when he's just lighting it up, and you knew he was nervous, you knew he was freaking out. You just feel good for a guy. It's a good story. It's good karma. It's just a guy who ignored the haters, ignored the detractors. Carson Beck is better than Georgia deserves. The Georgia fans, and not all of them, but he could have easily said, "Screw you, people. You don't appreciate me. I'm going somewhere else." And in the current world of transfer portal madness, nobody would have blamed him. But he stuck around, and he saved your ass today to the tune of 56 points.
Yeah, Stetson Bennett. Yeah.
Here's
a crazy stat for you, Roddy. DJU playing against South Carolina State threw 14 of 24, 171 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That was it.
Oh God, that's terrible.
So yeah, there's your guy that's in all the Dr. Pepper commercials now, and Stetson Bennett goes out there and throws 5 touchdowns against a much better team. In UAB.
Yeah.
What about the defense, Roddy?
10 of 12 for what, 288 yards?
10 of 12, 288, and 5 touchdowns. So half of his passes were touchdowns.
So I'm not a genius, but isn't that 28 yards of completion?
It is.
And granted, some of them are giant chunk plays, but hey, that if you take what the defense gives you, the defense decides to load up against the run because they don't want to run down your throat. You throw it over the top. You open it up, and he recognizes that, and sees it coming, knows what to do, and says, "Hey, I'm going to make this happen." So again, what it came down to, and I don't go with the whole calming influence thing that Kirby Smart and those guys were saying as the reason why they started Stetson. I'm not saying he's a liar. I'm sure that was part of it, but to me, it comes down to ability. And here's the thing. For everybody that wanted to have the conversation, everybody that wanted to have the debate, everybody that wanted to, flail themselves, self-flagellation. Why are we playing Carson? Why are we not playing Carson back? Why are we playing Stetson Bennett? You got to see the two of them on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
You got to see what it looked like in practice. I can't imagine that they were great, that Stetson Bennett was terrible in practice and came out here and was lights out. And vice versa, that Carson Beck was fantastic in practice and then came out here and laid an egg. I think what we saw in the game is what the coaches saw in practice. And a lot of people want to get into the whole thing. Well, and we had 2 players on Wednesday tell us Carson Beck split number one reps with JT Daniels. I'm sure he did. I don't doubt it. But what you notice what they didn't say was how he did.
Yeah.
No, we don't know. That's just it. There's this unknown. And people say, well, Kirby said he was number 2 after practice on Tuesday. Well, I'm sure he was number 2. He was probably looked great at that point. But there's also Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There's more days. In other words, if in our business, I go, Patrick Garvin's my number 2. You know, if I'm going on vacation, I want Patrick Garvin to run everything. Is he that way forever?
Yeah, right.
What if Jason Butt takes over? What if all of a sudden Paul Maharry gets a promotion? What's if?
Oh God, the site would go to hell.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What if Trent Smallwood's like really coming on? I'm like, okay, does that mean that because I said that once, it's that way forever? And here's the thing: these depth charts change daily. And I'm not saying at the quarterback spot and the left tackle spot, but when those guys line up to run their drills, they will check on a chart, see how yesterday's film from practice was graded out. Guys move up and guys move down. That's one of the things when we go to practice, when we used to go to practice, you know, hopefully we'll get back to it at some point. When we go to practice, one of the things we report every day is here's how the wide receivers lined up. Here's the first X, here's the first Z, here's the first Y, you know, here's the first guy in the slot, and here's the number 2 guy, here's number 3 guy, here's number 4 guy, and that stuff changes. Here's how the offensive line lined up today, and then it can be different the next day. But people seem to think that if Kirby says, hey, this is my number 2 quarterback, that it's chiseled in stone. I don't understand it.
How the defense looked to you, you were on the field, Roddy. They look pretty damn good on the TV screen, but
pissed off. Well, and here's the thing. Those guys are genuinely thrilled when one of their own makes a play. You know, we had this whole thing from Kirby Smart about we did skull sessions and guys told us their why. And I get it because last year you had a situation where in the meeting rooms, you know, you had a room for like the offensive line, the defensive line, wide receivers, defensive backs, you know, corner, whatever, they split them up, you know, inside linebackers, outside linebackers. Because of social distancing, you would put your starters and second string and those guys into the room. Some of the guys way down the depth chart didn't even get to go into the room. They had to do it via Zoom or something like that instead of actually being in the room with the others.
Damn.
Yeah.
but
again,
cool.
it's social distancing. Yeah. So they didn't have as many team activities and stuff like that. So they weren't really together. Some guys are close, but it is tough to form a bond with a guy that when you have to be spaced out all the time. This summer, you know, after these guys got all these vaccinations, they did these skull sessions where, you know, and we've heard about this in the past where a guy sits on a chair and he opens up to his teammates about his life, his earlier life, you know, something that's bothering him, something that troubles him, something that he's proud of, something he's happy about, and explain their why. Why are you here? Why do you get up at 5 a.m., come to a lift, go to class, have practice, go to tutoring, eat dinner, go to bed, start all over again? Why do you do this? You know, what are you trying to get for? You know, and there's a camaraderie now that is legit. I know people say it sounds hokey and every team claims that, but you ask, what am I seeing on the defense? I'm seeing when one guy makes a play, 45 guys swamp him on the sideline. They went nuts over Jordan Davis running down the quarterback, going out of bounds. The guy still got the first down.
Yeah, I saw that.
But now here's the thing. I had my lens on Jordan, you know, big lens, and I'm following him. And the first thing he does is the line blocks down to the left, and he goes with him. And then I'm like, okay, well, I see the quarterback going the other way, and I come back and I see he's scampering. I'm like, oh, well, he's going to get a first down. Then I see who made the tackle. I'm like, holy crap, that's 99. So, and he gets over there, and the team's congratulating him. Yeah, he gave him a first down, but they saw it.
Yeah.
And then when, you know, I'm trying to think of course, you know, on the big plays, you know, the interceptions and stuff like that, the guys go nuts. But just a good tackle, and everybody's swamping, patting these guys on the shoulder, jumping all over them. And hey, the defense threw a shutout.
They did.
You know, they wanted a shutout.
They did.
The second team came in, and Kirby Smart said, "Look, Sherman. When Sherman got his tackle, guys were thrilled for him. You know, they were absolutely bonkers for him. And it's like, okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was neat to see that kind of camaraderie and pounding on the back. But the defense, I mean, Kirby mentioned I was listening to the pregame show when I was riding in, and Kirby was saying, look, we have to play to our standard. And he didn't say we don't want to play down to them, but that's what's implied. It's like, look, we got to play to our standard no matter who it is. And South Carolina, that's going to be like this team here. Hell, they may not be as good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got Vandy. You know, there's another bad team. So Kirby doesn't want to say, look, and I've seen this in years past. And I've seen it on Kirby's teams. I've seen it on Mark Rick's teams. I saw it on Donna's teams. I saw it on it happens when you knock off the number 3 team in the nation and you move up to number 2. It's real easy against a team that you're paying to come pay at your place, you know, an out of conference team without a lot of big star power. You just come out there and throw your helmets on the field and you win because you're Georgia.
Yep.
And I remember a Nichols team
Nichols State. Yep.
Nichols State that kicked Georgia's ass in the trenches. I remember a Troy team that gave Georgia fits. You know, it can happen. And so everyone always talks about the letdown game or the trap game or stuff like that. But Kirby said, look, we need to play to our standard. And that's what I saw. They applied the same pressure, the same vehemence, the same psychology, same exuberance to this game as they did Clemson. I didn't see a let-off fall. I didn't see a let down. I didn't see them taking their foot off the gas on the defense. They're like, if these guys score, we're going to be pissed. And the second team was out there. And again, a lot of times when the second team gets out there, you see guys running around trying to make a name for themselves because they want to move up the depth chart. They want to, you know, show the coaches what they can do. And sometimes that leads to freelancing. A guy shoots the wrong gap because he thinks he can make a big play there. He doesn't stay back or shoot his gap because, you know, he thinks that he's going to shirk his responsibility in an effort to make a big play. And I go back to a couple of defenses where you were just absolutely full of star players. And I remember Garrison Smith saying, these guys will not hoe their own row, you know. They were freelancing, trying to make plays themselves to make that big NFL money, make a big splash. So, but these guys, even the second stringers, they looked, and again, I don't know exactly what everybody's responsibilities are, but I didn't see anybody, 2 guys banging into each other at in the linebacker core, which sometimes you see that, you know, where one guy's got one responsibility, another guy has his. This team looked legit, and the first teamer guys, I see Devontae Wyatt is on the sideline just yelling at his guys. I mean, Devontae could be in there, you know, but he's the second team's out there, and he sees Tramel Walter get a tackle, and he's sideways with happiness. I'm like, and again, you see that, but a lot of times teams are they're not as fully engaged with their teammates as they are maybe the action of the game, or, you know, they're on the sideline talking to other guys. No, this defense is lights out.
Got a question, Roddy, before I let you go. Some people were asking in the chat, how was the halftime ceremony since they brought the 1980 team back? We weren't able to see that on TV. Was that neat? How was that taken in? I would assume it was pretty cool.
I didn't see it. I was like, I didn't see it. I was right before halftime. Well,
yeah.
Well, trying to process
photos,
the first half photos.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
And upload photos and stuff like that. So that's the one time you can go in, change out the batteries on the camera packs and stuff like that, and grab the gear for the second half that you may need. And sometimes you get a big wide lens to go out and shoot celebration type stuff. You know, just I never see a halftime show. I should, but
just
I would like to have seen that.
Yeah, had some folks asking about it since it was the 1980 team. They brought him back for what seemed to be a pretty cool thing they did at halftime for those guys. Overall, just final thoughts on the game. Stetson Bennett, it seems like, you know, I don't know. Obviously, there's no quarterback controversy here. Even though RG3 decided in the second quarter, he decided in the second quarter to go ahead and say, "Hey, there's a quarterback controversy here." They had some dead air, Roddy. It was 56-7.
There is a quarterback controversy.
Whoa.
Well, what if you have a 80%, 90% JT Daniels, and you have 100%? Oh, see, here comes the water. Excuse me. You have a 100% Stetson Bennett.
So now I think that could be a quarterback controversy. You're right. But at the same token, if they're both 100%, there is no quarterback controversy. Let's just clear the air on that.
Why is that?
I mean, JT Daniels is your starter, no? You're just playing devil's advocate at this point. I mean, why is
so
that?
Is, Eason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think if you. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, Jacob Eason got hurt, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, but you also had Jake Fromm.
8 plays into the season, Jacob Eason goes down. Jake Fromm comes in. Right. Fromm comes in, barely beat Notre Dame. You needed a strip sack to win that game. Did look like a world beater.
You are really trying to get everybody riled up.
Wasn't the greatest. I'm just saying. Eason was held. This is one of the things I've never quite understood. And I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm just saying that then when Jacob Eason got healthy, I expected them to put him back in, but they stuck with Jake Fromm.
Yeah.
I'm just going on history under this coach.
Yeah. I don't know. I think next year.
The last two defenses that were really good. JT Daniels against Cincinnati, where they scored 9 points, a touchdown and a field goal. I mean, and then 3 points. Now today he might have had 5-8 touchdowns. I don't know. I'm just saying. We make the automatic assumption that JT Daniels is back. It's his team. They've invested everything into him. This was just a guy filling in for him until he gets back. That's what I thought too a few years ago with Jake Fromm and Jacob Eason. But at the same time, this coach stuck with. And I'm not saying he's going to stick with Stetson Bennett. I think there'd be a revolt. People want to see it, but at the same time, you have to do it on what happens in practice. So Beck could go into practice this week, and now that he's been blooded, now that he's been out on the field, now that he's kind of been under the bright lights, tear it up in practice and win the job. Stetson Bennett could go in there and say, look, you guys didn't give me any first team snaps, but look what I did for you. JT Daniels may be fighting that oblique. I'm just saying that it's not cut and dry. I don't want there to be a quarterback controversy. It doesn't do us any good. It just makes people mad as hell.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but but at the same time, if we look at past history, you can lose your starting job to an injury. It doesn't mean it's being held for you. You have to come back and win it back. So. I mean, in other words, who's starting next week?
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about tonight, and a lot of fans, Roddy, are okay with Stetson starting next week against South Carolina, if needed to. They're all right with that.
South Carolina and Vandy, But don't you want JT Daniels out there doing his thing? I'm sure he'd like to pad his stats,
Right.
I'm sure Carson Beck would like another bite at the apple, Let him get out there and say, look, that was my first game. I got the first game jitters out. Now I'm ready to go, and he will feel a lot better the next time he goes out there because he's been on the field. He's had the fear of the pick six. It's horrible. Then it happens. And when he was walking off the field, he was smiling, it's like, okay, I got that thing done with because it happens to everybody. So he goes, okay, shit, I don't have to, it's not the end of the world, and the coaches went right back to him. He had the pick six. Coaches put him right back in there. We believe in you. We know you can handle it. Get your shot. Brock Vandagriff got out there. He got to hand the ball off a few times, but at least he's been on the field, taking a snap as a Georgia Bulldog. And the first time he goes out there, it won't be the first time, or the next time he goes out there, it won't be the first time. So maybe this is JT Daniels' team, and there's, the guy, he's way up here and everybody else is down here. But I'm just going off past history. You just don't know, So I'm not saying that there is quarterback controversy, but just don't presume. Everyone presumed that Beck was getting the start. To my knowledge, I'm the only one that predicted Stetson Bennett would get it. I based it on what Kirby Smart's tendencies are. There you go.
I love how you end that. I love how you end this. It was such a wonderful ending. Now watch out for those sprinklers and make your way home. Now you've got this chat fired up over here for me. I sure do appreciate it so much.
Hey. Yeah. Folks back home sometimes light tires on fire.
Yeah.
And then, I'm gonna light a tire on fire, just roll it into your chat. Go have fun.
You sure did. See you, Roddy. What is this man talking about? What is this guy talking about, man? Did he really just end it off by saying that JT's not the quarterback? I don't know what's going on, man. I do know, guys, Roddy is definitely stirring the pot right there. I think that JT Daniels is a starter when he becomes healthy. There is no quarterback controversy, but Roddy that was fun for Roddy right there for sure. I could tell. You could tell he wanted to put that in there, and he did. Jeremiah says JT is our starter, no controversy. I agree, man, but Roddy wanted to throw it in there just a little bit. So, guys, we appreciate it so much for you guys watching this post-game overreaction show. We had a blast. Thank you to all you guys that commented and called in. We've been live for almost 2 hours now. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Before we sign off, if you could do me a huge favor, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and also hit the like button on the video. Put a little comment on the video once we're done, maybe just to go dogs. It helps in the algorithms with YouTube to get this thing to more people so they can see it. And they can maybe call in next week when Georgia plays against South Carolina. Another home game. It'll be on ESPN, and we'll be here right after the game for the post-game overreaction show. I'm Paul Maharry for Trent Smallwood, who is with us, and also Ryan Nabolsi. I say thank you so much. We appreciate you. Go hit that like button when the video's done and put a little comment on there. We love to hear from you guys, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.